And welcome, sports fans, to today's Sports Roundtable. Glad you joined us as we are over the midway point of the fall sports season, believe it or not. And a lot of exciting games have taken place, especially in conference play. We've had some great conference matchups that have really taken place over the last few weeks, and some of these conference championships are looking inevitable for some of the teams in high school football in the area. We're going to talk about that in a moment. We're also going to touch on the Missouri football district standings. District standings are big now as the Missouri high school football went to a point system heading into district tournament play. So those are very important when it comes to home field advantage through the district tournaments coming up in about 3 weeks or so, 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll be taking a look at those district standings after last night, how they shake out going into week 7. We're getting into week 7 in high school football this next week. And it's going to be exciting to see how it all plays out going forward. Also, we're going to take a look at some other results from the area: volleyball, softball, baseball, tennis. Those results from the area as well. And also take a look at the state rankings coming into this week for high school football as well. And had our TriCast last night. Didn't pull it off very well. I'll tell you, had some technical issues last night. But basically both games, the New Matter Kennett game, we didn't get our commentary sound coming through, but at least we had the video up, and had a technical issue down at Piggott on our side, not down there at the field, but on our side here at our station. So apologize for that, but we will have those games to replay for you this weekend. And we did have the Crothersville Dexter game live last night from here in Dexter. But the TriCast, not quite the TriCast we'd hope, but you can watch those on a replay basis for this weekend. So let's take a look at those games from the area last night, taking a look at those, and first starting off with the game that we brought live to you last night, Crothersville Dexter. No problem last night for the Crothersville Tigers as they cruise over the Dexter Bearcats 56-7. And Crothersville, one of the better teams throughout the Boot Hill in southeast Missouri, looked really good last night, and still a foe to be reckoned with there in the Class 2 District 1. And they're looking really strong in that district, and we'll take a look at those district standings here in a moment. But I got some highlights from that game last night, taking a look at those. And take a look at their second score of the night, going to be kind of a reverse here off the handoff, taking it all the way in for the touchdown. And a nice effort there in for the score for the Tigers. And we see here Russell dropping back, looking deep down the field, and a nice reception into the end zone as Crothersville on the board once again. Nice pass from Devin Russell. And we see here a pass over the middle for the Bearcats, caught and then coughed up off the tackle and ran in for the touchdown. And the young man right there is going to get a couple fumble touchdowns on the night. As we see here, he gets another one here late in the second quarter, taking it all the way in for the touchdown off of the fumble recovery, and just a runaway victory at this point for the Tigers. And we see their return for a touchdown to begin the second half, and just a runaway victory last night for the Tigers, and no problems. They cruise over the Dexter Bearcats 56-7. And in other games last night, Kennett over New Matter County Central, no problem, 50-6. It was a 35-0 game at half, and put it on cruise control in the second half. Kennett over New Matter County Central. Looks like Kennett looking good for that SEMO South conference title. They got key victories over New Madrid and Crothersville. So it looks like probably at this point they've got an inside track for that district championship going forward. So look out for the Kennett Indians. Another great season once again. And taking a look at Harrisburg and Piggott, the game we were down for last night, we'll have on a replay basis this weekend. The Harrisburg Hornets defeated the Piggott Mohawks 22-8, and that one's in conference play, 3A3 conference play. Harrisburg Hornets over the Piggott Mohawks, and a close one, but Piggott just unable to really convert any offense late, and got into some decent field position, just couldn't really cash in on some long drives for touchdowns. And just cost the Mohawks in the end, but Harrisburg getting that victory 22-8, and Piggott just coming up a bit short in that contest at Parker Field last night. And also take a look at Sykeston Charleston, one of the oldest, I think perhaps the oldest rivalry in high school football. And Sykeston got a win on the board last night against the Charleston Blue Jays, 27-12. So a nice win for the Bulldogs. They've struggled this year, playing a very tough conference at SEMO North Conference with the likes of Cape Central, Jackson, Poplar Bluff. Awful tough conference there. And Sykeston getting a nice win over the Blue Jays last night. Scott City over Portageville, decisive victory for the Rams, a team you got to look out for going forward. They're undefeated. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But Scott City getting a decisive victory over the Bulldogs, Portageville Bulldogs, 62-16. And Cape Central over Poplar Bluff, 36-0 in a shutout. And quite a strange game there last night. One of the strangest you'll ever come across. 8 total turnovers for the Mules, where Cape Central just took advantage and won 36-0 in that game. We'll talk more about that one, but big win for the Cape Central Tigers in that SEMO North Conference matchup. Jackson over Farmington, no problem there, as it's been no problem for Jackson so far this year. They win decisively 35-14 in that win last night. No problem for the Jackson Indians. And Farmington previously undefeated. No slash there with the Farmington Knights, but Jackson taking care of business on the road last night. Hayti over Malden, big 56-14, and Hayti coming off a great stretch since their opening week loss to the Thayer Bobcats. They've been undefeated ever since. Starting to move up those state rankings once again in Class 1, and we'll take a look at those state rankings here momentarily as well. And take a look at I want to move on here. Hold on. Okay, Kelly and Donovan. Kelly over Donovan, 42-6. A nice victory for the Kelly Hawks over the Donovan Dons. The East Prairie Eagles over the Chaffee Red Devils, 53-2. Chaffee only able to get up a safety on the board against the East Prairie Eagles. East Prairie dominant in that win over Chaffee last night. Woodland over Richland. Heading into some volleyball scores now. Woodland over Richland, 2-0. Oak Ridge over Bell City, 2-0. Notre Dame over Leopold, 2-1. Clarkton over Holcomb, 2-0. Dexter over Wynona, 2-1. St. Vincent over East Prairie, 2-0. Also, we have Campbell over St. Hornersville, 2-0. Advance over Puxico, 2-0. Poplar Bluff over Clearwater, 2-0. Perryville over Saxony Lutheran, 2-0. Excuse me. Cape Central over New Madrid County Central, 2-0. Gideon over Malden, 2-0. Kennett over Donovan, 2-0. Meadow Heights over Charleston, 2-0. Woodland over Bloomfield, 2-0 in the Stoddard County Conference. Bernie over Portageville, 2-1. Piggott over Truman. Piggott having a great week, and we'll talk more about that in our next segment. But Piggott over Truman, 3-0. Piggott over Cedar Ridge, 3-0, and making a clean sweep of it this last week in Piggott, and winning over Newport as well, 3-1. So only losing one set all week in 3 different matches for the Piggott Lady Mohawks. So a great run by the Lady Mohawks so far this year. They're in Piggott. St. Vincent over Saxony Lutheran, 15-6. Neelyville over Van Buren, 8-2. Or excuse me, we're in softball now. Softball, 15-6. St. Vincent over Saxony Lutheran. Neelyville over Van Buren, 8-2 in softball. Excuse me. Notre Dame over East Carter, 10-0. Staying in softball now. East Carter over Neelyville, 4-2. Jackson over Chaffee, 16-1. Cape Central over Poplar Bluff, 2-1. And into high school tennis. Jackson over Dexter, 8-1. 8 matches to 1 in high school tennis. Notre Dame over Sykeston, 9 matches to none. And those are your results from the area this week. And we're going to take a break and take a look at those replays we've got slated for this weekend and the 3 games that we did Friday night, and also take a look at headlines from the area as well. We'll take a look at that coming up.
If you or your loved one has disabilities that cause you to need a little help, Boot Hill Area Independent Living Services can provide the assistance you need. At Bales, we want you to have control of your life and assist you in thriving in an independent lifestyle. The Consumer-Directed Services Program allows you, the consumer, to choose who assists you in conducting your daily activities. Bales serves Stoddard, Dunklin, New Madrid, and Pemiscot counties. Call or visit our office in Kennett to see how we can help you maintain your independence.
At Glensane, we're going to sell more Chevrolet cars.
And welcome back. And now taking a look at your replays to take a look at from this week, from Friday night to replay those games this weekend. And the Crothersville-Dexter game you can watch Saturday at noon. Also Sunday at 3. Saturday at noon and Sunday at 3. You can go online to our website at yhctv.com and catch that replay anytime on our website as well. So check that out online or right here for the replays here on YHC. Harrisburg and Piggott, we're going to air that. Actually, we're going to air that Saturday at 6. Saturday at 6. Saturday at 6, Sunday at 6, and Monday and Tuesday at 6. So pretty much 4 days straight. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday at 6 p.m. That Harrisburg versus Piggott game. You can catch that replay, and we'll have it uploaded to yhctv.com by Sunday afternoon as well. New Madrid County Central versus Kennett. You can watch that replay Sunday at noon. We'll have that Sunday at noon. Also at, what was that, 8:30? Sunday at 8:30. Yeah, Sunday at 8:30, and then Monday at 8 p.m. Monday at 8 p.m. for New Madrid County Central and Kennett. So you can have plenty of opportunities to catch that replay. We'll have that uploaded by Sunday afternoon as well on yhctv.com. And let's take a look at the headlines from the area. Take a look at those. And Kennett rolls New Madrid County Central. An impressive victory once again, having some returning players. Kennett's been without some key players over the last few weeks. Bodie Ellis, notably, junior quarterback for the Kennett Indians, comes back after a couple of weeks off. And I tell you, the Williams kid, John Williams, came in, did a great job over the last couple of weeks as a sophomore, much like Bodie Ellis did when he came in last year as a sophomore. And held down for it, got some nice wins over some decent opponents, especially Crothersville on the road. Did a great job there, and held down the fort for a couple weeks as Bodie Ellis came back last night, and Marcavon Harrell had maybe the game of his career. 222 rushing yards on the night for Marcavon Harrell, and New Madrid just didn't have any answer for Harrell as he just run over the field last night and had a big game, and he's had a big year. He's had a big year for the Indians. The feature back for the Indians, which they got 2 or 3 guys that are carrying the ball for some good yardage this year, but seems like they just rode him last night, and he had a whale of a game. 222 rushing yards on the night, and looks like Kennett's fully healthy now for the most part. They're getting some of those guys back. I think Seth Tice still there in the mix. I'm not sure if he returned last night or not. Didn't get word on that, but a key defensive back's been out for a couple of games as well, so hopefully he'll get back into the mix as well as we enter in here into the last half of the season. So Kennett looking really strong, and they pretty much have an inside track for that SEMO South Conference title now. Got victories over Crothersville and New Madrid, pretty much their toughest competition. I think only one more conference game left, and that is with the Dexter Bearcats. The Dexter Bearcats remain in that SEMO South conference, and that's going to be next week, which we'll talk about in our broadcast schedule coming up. But Kennett going to be heavy favorites in that one against Dexter next week. So Kennett looks like another conference title is in the works for the Indians, and it's been a great run by Kennett here in the last 3 or 4 years. They've had a good run, and it seems like they just keep getting better. Coach Joe White and his staff just keep building on each year, and it's fun to see that program really take off here in the last handful of years there in Kennett. And in other games, Cape Central forcing 8 turnovers against the Poplar Bluff Mules. Unbelievable. And these were the first 8 possessions for the Poplar Bluff Mules. 4 fumbles, 4 interceptions on the night to start their offensive night. It's hard to say your first 8 possessions. You don't get very many possessions past 8. And they were all turnovers, 4 fumbles and 4 interceptions on those first 8 possessions for the Mules. And they had 6 fumbles on the night, lost 4. So there was 2 fumbles they actually recovered, other than the 4 that they lost. So tough night for the Mules. I think we would have had a closer game if it weren't for those turnovers. I thought that would have been a pretty nip and tuck game there between those two, Cape Central and Poplar Bluff, with actually Poplar Bluff having a decent chance to win that game. I think they would have probably been the favorite in that game. But 8 turnovers will take you out of a game quick, and it wasn't even all that quick. It was pretty much probably into the second half that they just kept turning the ball over and got shut out. And, you turn the ball over 8 times, it's not hard to get shut out. But one of the strangest games I've come across since the time I've been following high school football all the way back to, 2008, 2009? Yeah, I don't think I've come across a game where you have 8 turnovers, and not only 8 turnovers, 8 straight turnovers to start a game. And that was the case for the Mules last night. But Cape Central, you got to give them credit. They took advantage, forced the fumbles, forced the interceptions, and just took advantage of it in the end. But Poplar Bluff, one of the strangest games you'll see out of any team, regardless of class, size, or whatever. 8 straight turnovers in a game, just unbelievable. But we'll see if Poplar Bluff can bounce back going forward. But Cape Central getting that victory, conference victory, SEMO North victory for Cape Central last night. And Scott City, we talk about Scott City each week, kind of being kind of a sleeper, but not really a sleeper anymore. They've been getting dominant wins over the last few weeks, pretty much the whole year, and looking really strong as they get a big victory over Portageville to go 6-0 on the year. And Jimmy May having a heck of a game last night, 178 rushing yards for May. And seems like, I think the Stratman kid, it seems like each week a kid really steps up to Spencer Stratman. We talked about him having, I think, right at 300 yards in a game. And now Jimmy May coming up with a big night with 178. It's just another kid each week coming up with some big performances for the Scott City Rams. And you got to look out for these guys. They've got dominant wins all over their schedule this year. It seems like them, Jackson, and Kennett are in a league of their own when it comes to their schedule this year. And it's been an impressive season for the Rams so far. And another big performance out of another Ram, Jimmy May, last night. And also Jackson continuing their dominance in their schedule, getting an impressive victory over Farmington. Farmington was undefeated going into that game last night. And Jackson winning 35-14 to extend their undefeated season. And Jackson keeps climbing in the state polls, which we'll take a look at in a moment. And a very impressive game for the Jackson Indians once again. And 2 heavyweights, 2 undefeated teams last night. Again, a Class 4 team in Farmington and a Class 5 team in Jackson. Heavyweight battle there last night. Jackson gets the better of Farmington and move on to 6-0 on the year. And make a little transition to some high school volleyball. The Piggott Lady Mohawks have had a great season so far. They went 3-0 in their games this past week over Cedar Ridge, Newport, and Truman. Another great week for the Lady Mohawks. They're 11-1 on the season in conference play, and just a great season so far. 16-2 overall, 11-1 in the conference, and Piggott just continuing to dominate throughout their schedule. And only lost 1 set this week. They played best of 5 down there in Arkansas, and only losing 1 set in all their matches this week. 3-0, 3-0, 3-1, all this week from the Lady Mohawks. So congratulations to the Lady Mohawks, continuing their great season this year. And it's going to be fun to see how that season plays out as we head into conference tournament play, not too distant future. So good luck to the Lady Mohawks going forward. And now let's take a look at those state rankings in high school football coming into this week. They don't reflect last night's games, but coming into this week, Lincoln still on top at number 1 in Class 1. Thayer right behind in number 2 in Class 1. On down the way there, Hayti at number 5, moving up into that top 5. They went down to, I think, 9 or 10 after that first week loss to Thayer, and just steadily moving back up the poll. They're at number 5 this week, followed by Valley Catholic at number 6, and Haytime Valley Catholic share that same Class 1 District 1, and wouldn't be surprised if we get another district championship game between those two later on in the year. And that's pretty much the Class 1 poll for Missouri this week. Moving into Class 2, Cardinal Ritter still on top at number 1, followed by Lutheran North. They're at number 2. And still haven't got any local teams there in the mix, but notably Lamar moving all the way down to number 9. A couple losses on the year, which we don't certainly come across. They had one of the longest, I think they had the longest winning streak in the country going back to last year. But last year they finally lost a game. I think they had a couple losses, made it out to the quarterfinals. And, seeing Lamar just come down a bit, which has been a little strange over the last 6-7 years. But it's just the way the cycle works. They're just on a different time frame than everybody else. They win 6 or 7 straight titles and state titles, and then take their, come down a bit against the competition. But it seems to be the case this year, down to number 9 in this week's poll. In Class 3, Blair Oaks still on top at number 1, undefeated, followed by Odessa, the defending Class 3 state champion in the Trinity Catholic Titans, and then followed by Kennett down the way at number 6. Still at number 6 this week, coming into the week at 5-0, going to 6-0 last night with a victory. So Kennett staying strong in that Class 3 poll. In Class 4, Ladue on top at number 1, followed by Webb City at number 2, Cam Denton at number 3, and on down the way here. Really no local teams there in the Class 4 poll this week. And in Class 5, Fort Zumwalt North leads the way, still at number 1, undefeated. Jackson moves up to number 2. Chaminade taking a loss at number 2, moving down to 3. Jackson moves up to number 2 in the state, now undefeated at 6-0. So the Indians at the number 2 spot in Class 5 in the state poll this week. And then, so the Jackson Indians looking good in that state poll, moving all the way up to number 2 from number 3 last week. And let's take a look at the, let's take a break real quick. We'll take our last break and then take a look at these football district. Take a look at these football district rankings and the football district standings, and we'll take a look at our broadcast schedule going forward. We'll be back with that coming up.
At Glen Sain, we're going to sell more Chevrolet cars and trucks between now and January the 1st than we've ever sold before. Listen to this. New Chevrolet Malibu, 19,458, $99 down, $299 a month. A 2019 Silverado, list price $48,080, your cost $34,970. What a savings. GlenSainParagle.com, best price, best service. Glen Sain, God bless our church.
And welcome back. Take a look at the football district standings. Class 1, District 1, Valley Catholic on top at number 1. And these do reflect last night's games. So this is coming into week 7 now. Valley Catholic on top at number 1 with just over 51 points, followed by St. Vincent, who's 4-2 with over 45 points. The Hayti Indians. Hayti Indians at 5-1 over 44 points. So that could be a battle for that second place there between St. Vincent and Hayti. They're not on the schedule, so we'll just see how the season plays out, who might get that second or third spot. And that could potentially be a semifinal matchup, and the top seed would host that semifinal matchup there in that 2-3 matchup in the semifinals. So that's a matchup to look forward to and see who might climb to that number 2 spot by the season's end. Followed by Charleston at number 4, Portageville at 5, Malden 6, 7 Chaffee, and 8 Crystal City. But Malden would leapfrog Portageville in that poll due to the head-to-head victory, and that's the way the standings work. If you have a head-to-head victory and you are neck and neck in the poll, right at this on top of each other in the poll right there, the winning team would take over that spot. So Malden's actually at number 5 if we were entering into the district tournament, and then Porterville would be at number 6. So there's your Class 1, District 1 standings after this last Friday and week number 6. And you take a look at Class 2, District 1. Scott City, no surprise there on top at number 1. But Crothersville right behind with just over 44 points at 4-1. St. Pius following at number 3, followed by New Madrid at 4. Kelly at number 5, Jefferson 6, East Prairie 7, Herculaneum at number 8. So we'll see what happens there, as Crothersville and Scott City could be a big matchup. But I tell you, we got Crothersville and New Madrid coming up. I think that might be next week in the schedule. That could be a big-time matchup that could make some waves there in the Class 2 District 1 standings. Be looking forward to that matchup in the next few weeks. And in Class 3 District 1, Kennett on top at number 1, 6-0 on the year, and kind of running away with that top ranking, followed by Park Hills at number 2, St. Genevieve 3, followed by Potosi, Perryville, Fredericktown, Dexter, and Doniphan. And I wouldn't expect much movement in that, with the exception of maybe Potosi and Perryville right there in the middle at 4 and 5. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way it looks for the rest of the way. They're in that Class 3, District 1. But Kennett just running away with this one in the standings. They're at number 1. Class 4, Farmington on top at number 1. Excuse me. Farmington on top at number 1. At 5-1, followed by Cape Central, DeSoto, Festus, Sykeston, Hillsboro, Windsor out of Imperial, and North County. There's your Class 4 District 1 standings, and Farmington likely going to lead the way there in Class 4 District 1. And in Class 5, only 4 teams, but Jackson leading the way at number 1, followed by Fox, Seckman, and Poplar Bluff. I would expect Poplar Bluff to come up to that second spot, but that loss to Cape Central hurt them last night, and Poplar Bluff could be looking at a semifinal matchup, which there are only 4 teams, so first round is the semifinals, and we've been seeing Jackson and Poplar Bluff in those district championships for a while, but they very well could meet up in that semifinal as the way it looks now. But they're really close. There's Seckman with a losing record at 2-4, still ahead of Poplar Bluff at 3-3, but 30.15 and 29.98. Only 17 points there separate. 17. It's actually less than 0.2 of a point separate Seckman and Poplar Bluff there. So we can see Poplar Bluff easily move up at that 3 slot with a couple more wins on their schedule. So there you go, Class 5 District 1, and we're going to take a break and come back with our broadcast schedule and wrap that up here in a moment.
Hey folks, it's hot out here, but the deals are even hotter. Like this late model Equinox starting under $300 per month, or a Ford Focus starting $149 per month, or several pre-owned Ford Escapes under $200 per month. Baldwin Ford Lincoln Toyota, home of the lifetime warranty.
The end of summer sales event going on here at Baldwin Ford Lincoln Toyota, with pre-owned RAV4 starting under $200 per month, plus a great selection of Tacomas, 4Runners, and Sienna vans. Baldwin Ford Lincoln Toyota, home of the lifetime warranty.
And welcome back, and let's take a look at our football broadcast schedule going forward. We only got 2 nights remaining. There are 3 weeks remaining in the regular season, but we've only got 2 nights. As next week on the 11th, we will have Dexter at Kennett. We'll bring that live to you right here on Channel 21, YHCTV.com, and Facebook Live. That's a SEMO South Conference matchup, and Kennett going to be a heavy favorite in that one. But we're going to look forward to bringing that to you live from Metz Cherry Stadium next Friday night in Kennett. So look forward to that one. Also, we'll have Walnut Ridge at Piggott, a 3A3 conference matchup, and much needed win for the Piggott Mohawks there in the conference. They should match up well against Walnut Ridge, and we will have that one live on the website at YHCTV.com next Friday night. So look forward to that one from Parker Field and Piggott. We'll carry that one live on YHCTV.com next Friday night. And we'll skip the 18th. We don't have any games to follow there on the 18th, but we will have one 2 weeks from the 11th on the 25th, the last week of the regular season. Malden at Dexter, and that'll be live here on Channel 21 and YHCTV.com, even Facebook Live. And then we'll have Osceola at Piggott, another 3A3 conference matchup there in Piggott on the 25th. So look forward to that one later on in the month on the 25th there in Piggott. So those are our remaining games on our football broadcast schedule. We'll bring you some district games, most likely Kennett. Kennett's going to have home field advantage, looks like, throughout their district tournament. So we'll be there on hand for much of that district tournament. Not likely the first week, but probably the semifinals and potentially the finals. So we probably cover Kennett for much of the way there and see what else happens. But right now it looks like Kennett, like last year, that will probably follow throughout the district tournament. So we'll see what happens as that nears. Not too distant future, so we'll see what happens. And going to wrap it up today. I'm really not feeling well today. A late night with the games, and well, I tell you, I've been really feeling ill this last week. It's been a tough one, and just trying to get through this. But we're going to kind of size it down today and wrap it up for the week. And we'll see you next week on another roundtable. Some more games coming to you once again this week, and be sure to catch those replays of the games we got for you this weekend. And until next time, I'm Tyler Wagner. Have a great week.